Gotta have runners, guys. Got to have runners. So a runner is just simply somebody that picks up your phones for you so you can focus on more important things, whether that be ads management, calling stores to get deals. Maybe you have someone picking up phones while you're picking up phones. There's many different reasons to do this, and you got to do it. You don't maybe have to do it at first, but eventually you cannot be just running all over the place all day, every day, and expecting to really grow or prosper in the long run. In the short run, oh man, I used to post videos where I'd go an hour and a half or so, sometimes further, depending on the deal. And hey, if you're gonna make $500, I made one that I made $530, and I traveled, I think, an hour and 45. I'm all about that. And if you don't have a ton of deals going on, then the strategy changes. It always changes based on how much business you're doing. If you have 50 phones coming in a day, you damn sure can't be driving around going get them. And so there's runners, and then there's drop-off points. And so first of all, for runners, the easiest and quickest way to get them is to use a family member or friend. Ideally, a family member or friend that you trust, obviously, but also somebody that has no real desire to hustle and make extra money other than what is kind of directed and put in their lap. So they're happy to go and pick up a phone for you, but they're really not ever gonna go and find their own deals. That's just never gonna happen for them. What else? Friends, obviously, friends can be good. Friends in other cities can be good, so you can spread it out and not have to depend on your local market quite as much. I've done that I do that over like a 100-mile radius. So I have one guy that's like 50 miles away one way, another guy that's 80 miles another way. And for the most part, recently I've been sticking to that zone, although I have done other states. But you got to trust these people. You have to trust them a lot, because you're going to be sending the customer the money after they get the phone, or you're going to be sending, what was I going to say? You'll be sending the customer, the money while they're with them. So you have to make sure that they're checking it correctly. You have to make sure that you've trained them on how to check it correctly. And then you have to make sure that they're not just going to run off with the phone. And so the mistakes that I've made with runners is not training them good enough. If you have an Android user as a phone pickup person, they can make mistakes because they don't normally use an Android. What's up, Danny? And so I bought a fake iPhone with a runner. But by that point, he had picked up 20, 30 successful phones. I took a $750 loss, but he had made me thousands of dollars that I otherwise wouldn't have gotten, because he was an hour and a half away from where I'm at. And a lot of these deals just weren't within my time frame of when I could get them. That was the only time I would lean on him, is when I just really could not get those phones, or I had other stuff to pick up. So it's basically I was double dipping. So to train them, you just walk them through a video of you checking a phone with, you either give them access to your SICW, or you just have them send you the IMEI if necessary. If it's an insanely good deal, you don't need an IMEI. I don't care about IMEIs if I'm buying an iPhone 13 for $200 because the guy said it was blacklisted and it's really not, and it doesn't matter at that point, because I'm crushing it. If it's locked, if it's carrier locked, not carrier locked, blacklist, doesn't matter. And so anyway, I'm making this video because a lot of people have asked me this stuff, and it's fairly simple to pull all this off, but you have to be somebody that's trusted, and you have to be somebody that's trusting. You have to have people in your circle that you trust, and a lot of that boils down to like who you are as a person. And some of it could be your upbringing, or maybe you're in a new city, and so this could be harder on certain people. Lastly, one of my best pickup guys is a former client. I think he was doing like a full family upgrade, and I bought like 3 or 4 phones from him a couple years ago. Don't let runners give out their personal number or messenger. Number 1 rule. Yeah, it depends on the runner. If you know that runner has no ambition, change. The rules change. If you think that runner is going to like try to get you, you might want to keep certain info away from him. You might not want him to know how much you're actually getting for the phones. But yeah, good tip, Chris. Yes. Okay. So a client, I bought, it was 3 or 4 phones. So I made like, let's say $300 off this one transaction with this guy. And then from there, it's like, okay, now I've got house money. I've got house credit with this person. We ended up having just a good talk. We ended up just clicking. And obviously this guy could take me on the next deal and then take all that profit back. Or it could work out, right? So you have to be willing to take either a break-even loss in that case, or just a loss altogether. So if you buy or sell a phone to a guy, you end up hitting it off with him and having a good conversation. You know, you might want to throw him like an iPhone 8 Plus or an X or something like that where you're paying $100 for it. And then you see how that goes. And then you just keep on with that. You keep on with that one deal. And you count in your head or you count on your paper how much profits you made from this guy to where your risk tolerance can increase. Now this guy is like my weekend pickup dude. And he has been picking up phones for me on the weekends for a long time. I don't like to work on the weekends, but I still like to get phones. And my ads still run. People that are repeat people hit me up, right? There's just the business doesn't stop because I stop showing up. And because I'm not showing up doesn't mean that I have to not get phones either. And so this weekend I got a dozen or so phones just because I kept it going and I wasn't even in town. So you give them basic training. You be available for them when they go and meet up with a person. You start slow with them. You give them a little bit of rope, and to be honest, they're going to make more mistakes than you're going to make. Usual mistakes are going to be maybe overlooking a crack or missing like a Face ID or something like that. Things that aren't totally devastating has been the majority of the mistakes that my runners have made. And even if you add up the grand total of their mistakes, it would take a run of like 100 bad deals in a row before I even started to think, okay, this is not working so well, and I'm like now breaking even or losing money. And so could this guy go rogue and I do a deal and let's say it's $1,200 and he runs off with my money? Yes. And that would suck, but the totality of the deals and the profits that this guy has made me, while sometimes I literally can't meet them, and sometimes I don't want to meet them. It's a mix of those two. But if you added up all the extra profit that this guy has made me, it's probably, let's say $10,000. That's just one guy. I think that covers it. Sometimes I'm thinking topics are going to be a lot more complicated than they are, and this really isn't. The main thing that you have to analyze about your life and who you are as a person is if you're like, I don't have anyone that I trust, I don't trust anyone, people don't trust me, you're gonna have to do some work on who you are as an individual, because there's a lot of good people, a lot of trustworthy people, and like there's a lot of people that are trustworthy with $1,000, but maybe less at 10,000 or 100,000, but still you're not doing $10,000 or $100,000 deals. You're doing a phone here, a phone there, and let's say you have a runner that gets 3-4 phones for you in a day at all separate locations while you're doing something else to grow the business. It's big time, man. I pay them $20 to $30 per phone. If they have to travel, I'll pay them more. If the deal's really good, I'll pay them more. If the deal doesn't work out through no fault of their own, I will either pay them some or I'll pay them the full amount, especially if it was my fault. If the deal is like insanely good, like my runner got a 13, the guy said blacklisted, so I quoted him $200. It ended up not being blacklisted and being unlocked, so it was like $530, $330 profit. So I think I gave him essentially 2 phones. I gave him 2 phones worth. So I gave him $50. That guy paid $25. I gave him $50. And the reason I do that is because some deals don't work out. And even though I might give them the $25 anyway, people want to add value. And if they're just like, if you had a job where you literally knew you were doing nothing, a majority of like decent people, the kind of people you're going to be working with to get you phones are going to be decent people, friends. They're not going to feel okay about just going around and wasting their time. Yeah, they make $25 here or there to waste their time, but at some point they're going to be like, I'm wasting my time. I could have done something else, right? But there's some satisfaction in the fact that they knew they picked up a phone, you paid them $25, you made whatever you made, you know it's worth it. They know it's worth it for you, you know it's worth it for them. And so adding value is sort of like the currency of our day. And it's why I do what I'm doing here. It's like it's adding value to your lives. You guys add value to my life. And at the end of the day, that's a good, it's a good proposition. So anyway, overpay them on deals that are really, really good. If they negotiate the deal down and they're honest, I've had honest runners that did that. They negotiated the deal down for me because it had this or that on it. I've either given them the full amount or I've given them half the amount if it was, let's say, like a scratch. You know what I mean? So I incentivize them to do good work, right? And I always want to err on the side of overpaying good people. If you overpay bad people, you don't get better results. But if you overpay good people, then you just basically like incentivize them to do well and to treat you well and to look out for you. And to think like, okay, he gave me these 5 parameters, but like, what else could he have missed? Like, what else? And the truth is, a runner is likely to be better at inspecting phones than me because I got 20 things going on, and he's got one. He's got one job. Crushed it. Chris Kiki says, incentivize runners or workers. I've given them room to make money. To make money to take away the thought of going solo. They make no more money doing it on their own than going independent. Yeah, like if you have somebody that you know is too good for what you're hiring them for, I absolutely will pay that person more or incentivize them and teach them, knowing that no matter what, if they want to leave, first of all, if they want to leave, they're going to leave anyway. But second of all, like, yeah, you can pay someone more to give up their dreams. That is what a job is. It's someone saying, is $20 an hour good enough for you to give up your dreams? And like, you're like, okay, 22. How about 22? And then next year they're like, okay, we know that this now sucks more because it's old. So how about 24? And like, you're a little bit more experienced, so 24 makes sense for us. And it's $2 more an hour. It's $4,000 a year. Do you still want to dream, or do you want to give up? You want to keep giving up your dream for us? And that is, that's life, and that's how that goes. So, I love you guys. Peace.